So firstly, welcome to this first public meeting of Save Petersham Park. Thank you all for coming tonight, and we want to say at this time that our thoughts are with any of our community who've been affected by yesterday's events at Martin Place. Save Petersham Park was formed after Urban Growth released their draft strategy on 23rd of November this year. We're a small group of very passionate and very committed local residents. We have no political affiliation, okay? This strategy of urban growth revealed two very, very important things. It revealed the plans of WestConnex to build an exit entry interchange on the site of Petersham Park, and at the same time it revealed the plans of urban growth, the New South Wales Government's developers, to rezone the area around the park for high-rise. We are, I think, the only area on the new Parramatta Road corridor that's been targeted by so heavily by both WestConnex and urban growth. They know how amazingly special this part of the world is, and they want a piece. So I must say at this point that since Save Petersham Park started, we started with a Facebook page that within a week and a half had 2,000 likes. So that's how committed and passionate you guys are as well in supporting us to fight these plans. I should say at this point that both Urban Growth and WestConnex have revised those initial plans. I like to think it's partly in response to our activity, who knows. And a member of Save Petersham Park, Kath Reynolds, will speak further about those revisions. I should also say that no WestConnex are attending tonight as well, and they have information on the broader WestConnex project. There will be some information about that. You all should all have an agenda on your seats. I should also say at this point, on all your seats is a submit your objection page. What we've done there is we've collated the most common objections to urban growth specifically about the rezoning. If you don't have one, there are more up the back on our table. It advises you that you can use these points and these words, but please write your own introduction and conclusion with an individual introduction and conclusion. But with these points, it is considered a separate submission, and that's what we're after. We're after as many submissions as possible. I should say that members of Save Petersham Park met relatively informally with employees of Urban Growth last week at their request, and we were encouraged by them to directly contact Prue Goward, who is the Planning Minister. So from there, they felt that that is your way of making the best impact. Our suggestion is that whatever you write to Prue Goward, you also send to Urban Growth. Call me suspicious, but I just want to cover all bases. We need to know that our submissions are being heard and are being received. I should say tonight that Max Phillips, Greens candidate for Summer Hill and the Greens councillor at Marrickville Council, sends his apologies. He has a prior engagement. We're also hoping that David Leary, the Greens councillor at Marrickville Council, will attend later to speak, but he also has a prior engagement, so he may not be there, and in that event sends his apologies. Susan Price, candidate for Summer Hill from the Socialist Alliance, will join us for the Q&A. I should say that after the Q&A, we, Save Petersham Park, the core group, will be meeting reasonably briefly, we'll be tired, to discuss future activities, and we would love anyone who would like to be involved to join us for that, and we're keen to see as many of you there as possible. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Matt Hounsell from EcoTransit to speak specifically on urban growth. Thank you.
Okay, so it's wonderful to see you all today. It's also great that Kathleen and Francesca and Fern and John have managed to start such a powerful group. You are powerful by just your actions, So far we have seen major changes by Urban Growth New South Wales. Their PR people are responding to the community now with a very mixed reaction. They used to be quite standoffish. This is what we're going to do to you and you will like it. Now they're saying, well, okay, please, don't be angry with us. It would be nice if they would actually have thought of asking us what we wanted before we got angry, but apparently not. I'm going to run through some slides. Please don't worry about the number of them. We'll make them available to say Petersham Park, and you can look at them at your leisure online. This is more about understanding the overall strategy than the actual content, because it's the strategy that matters, and I'll explain why. On Sunday, I'll just gesture at you. On Sunday, the government released the Metropolitan Strategy 2014. Now, it's 11 days to Christmas, and this is the most important planning document in the state, and it was released on Sunday at 11 AM. This is one of their cover photos, and if you watch the groom transfer, you'll know that in advertising, the first thing you do is you find your negative and you advertise the opposite. So the first thing they have advertised is wide open spaces, green spaces, walking and cycling. That's not what's in the plan. This is an artist's impression of Parramatta Road. It's a very pretty impression, and we know the impressions are always different from the reality. You'll notice the massive trees. You'll notice the high-rise buildings just sitting in the back. Lovely sky blue, all a bit translucent, and all of them hiding out of sight. Now, this is not what Bondi looks like, and it's not what Chatswood looks like, and it's not what Petersham will look like. In their plan, and I use the term extremely lightly, urban growth indicates 12 stories for Petersham. I think that's what the pink means. I can't actually find any detail. I've asked them and they won't give us any detail, they don't know. But it is 12 to 20 stories along Parramatta Road. Oh, of course, all the way into Flood Street and all the rest. One of the things we have to be cautious of is it's not just the high-rises, but also the road changes. Now, the RTA has been pushing for a direct route from Parramatta Road to New Canterbury Road for decades, sorry, Old Canterbury Road, and they will probably drive it through the suburb. Now, the reason that's kind of important is because compulsory acquisition matches very nicely with road widenings. This is the Colotex proposal. Now, if you're not familiar, on the other side of Parramatta Road is the old industrial estate. Now, the developer put in this proposal, which is for 8 stories. The department came back and said, yes, according to the strategic plan, you need more houses. We'll give you 10 stories. Now, the developer was very happy and they considered going back to the market. This was gatewayed, it was approved into the rezoning, and the only reason there is not going to be a major block of flats on the other side of Parramatta Road is because of the industrial pollution. So that's not what applies over here. This is the other thing that was in the plan. The M9 motorway, the M6 motorway, the Military Road motorway, the Bells Line of Road motorway, the Castle Craig motorway, the M5, M6, M2 and M4 expansions. Almost no public transport. Now, this Metropolitan Strategy covers this area, and it has a real kick in the tail, because now they've decided it's not just Parramatta Road, but everywhere along the Inner West Line. So all of this area is now up for urban activation. So they want to increase the densities in this area. And they will do it by what's so-called urban infill, being supervised by the new super committee, of which there is no detail, which will direct councils, which will give overall planning decisions that will then ask councils to rezone, and we're not even sure that councils can resist. The Sydney Commission, the Greater Sydney Commission. There's no detail on this, there's no legislation yet, and it is something that is really worrying the people. If you can, get in contact with the Better Planning Network and follow them. Action 2.2, undertake urban renewal and transport corridors. Now this is the most important sentence in the strategy. The government will continue to focus urban renewal activities to provide additional housing in the following corridors. Parramatta Road Corridor. The reason I brought up the Colotex site is the rezoning was justified by a sentence exactly like this in the draft strategy. So now when a developer wants to build an apartment complex, if they get hold of, say, Petersham Bowling Club or any of the other clubs or car parks around here, all they have to do is submit $20,000 and apply for a gateway process. And they'll go to the Department of Planning, and the Department of Planning doesn't knock these things back. They didn't even know it could back for the Colotex site, and they didn't even bother to check whether it was safe for human habitation. Existing subdivisions, they're going to harmonise. Everybody's going to be in harmony in the LEPs. So with all of the controls in the Leichhardt LEP and the Barrenfield LEP against subdivision will be removed. Accelerate housing supply, housing intensification. The new name, Priority Precinct. It's not an urban activation precinct anymore. That focus group told them that was now poison. So it's now a Priority Precinct. Who for? We're not quite sure. And along the Inner West Light Rail. The Inner West Rail Line and the Inner West Light Rail are now going to be the justification for spreading density out to the suburbs. Again, the Colotex proposal. Urban Growth New South Wales is operating in this area as the government's for-profit property developer. Their primary objective is profit. There are equal objectives that are social housing or social good and all the rest, but you know, some priorities are more equal than others. Now, 2013 they made $83 million in profit, answering to Brad Hazard. 2014 they made $116 million, answering to Prue Goward. So this is a major money spinner for the state. The projects all over the place. They're running out of greenfields and now they're looking in the suburbs. This is their property portfolio. It's all of Parramatta Road. Now, the key point are the people, because an organisation is made up of its people. Former Liberal leader John Brogden, who is CEO of the Financial Services Organisation, which represent all of the big investors. All of the big banks, all of the big private super funds. He was also a strong advocate against the FOFA reforms that said that the financial advisors should have your interests at heart. I'm not sure how that plays into this, but I'll let you say. Robert Hamilton is another board member from Mirvac and Hamilton Co-Real Estate. Matthew Quinn from CSR, which is the building products company in Stockland. Benita, I apologise to her, Boozerman, or Bertherman. She's experienced in Perpetual. Karen Penrose, who's Leighton's and other property trusts. Now their current executive is renowned for working on the Dubai Palms, another major development. And the head of urban transformation, what a lovely title, is from 27 years of experience in these. Now, it's the experience in the development industry that changes and shapes the way they think about our suburbs. They start thinking about yields and units and housing numbers, and not about community. This area is the densest second densest LGA in the city, with Leichhardt being third. And it is that dense because it was a transit-oriented development when the trams ran up Parramatta Road. You don't get much more denser than that in Australia. And the trams ran at a profit and carried more people than City Rail does today. And these suburbs are dense and lovely, and I really think we should keep them. So what does this mean for you guys? Yes, I'm just this is an overall view of the WestConnex. Oh, sorry. The current inner west line is over capacity, so don't expect any improvements in that. This is over in Camperdown. This is the kind of units that they're building. Now the question is, do we want this kind of units in this suburb? And I urge you to all join Save Petersham Park, support the motion tonight, and tell the government to go away in a slightly less polite form than that. But there are kids present, so I won't say what I really think. Thank you.